Yo, hi, what's up, darling? So this is another diary. I have just figured out how to release the deck, how to create a production schedule so I can get the booklet done in a reasonable amount of time. And this is the idea. I've been iterating on um, these are all the same cover. Do I have another cover? Yeah. So like here's like the version one. Here's a mess up of the print. So I've been putting these zines. So the idea is that the booklet for the tarot deck will each have these super dense pages for each card, and then there'll be like the minor arcana section, and then this like map of the minor arcana, and then here's all the pip cards we're talking about. So this is sort of like what the booklet will ultimately look like. But um, the trouble is, here's the trouble. I want to go through. This is major arcana, mine and the suits. I want to go through randomly. So if I was, but I want to also be producing something. So either I have to not go randomly and like produce in chronological order, because this booklet right here, this is I think 10 pages, and the whole booklet is going to be 10 packets of this, or maybe it's only 5 packets of these like bound together. So it's going to be a pretty significant book when I'm done, and it'll like explain the tarot, blah blah blah, minor arcana, major arcana, and then have all the pages. I wrote a whole fool's journey thing too. So this, if I want to like release this episodically, I'd have to go in order, and then there'd be this gradation in the quality. Like the first one's going to be like pretty okay, but then like the last one, I'm going to have so much just practice and skill and like how I produce these things. So I'm doing it a different way. What I'm going to do is over the next 10 months, I'm going to release 8 of these per episode. Um, so here I think is the newest one. Yeah. So this is the, haven't stapled this. Here's a little trick when stapling. I take a little piece of cardboard, because not everyone has one of those fancy staplers. I'm going to take my stapler down, open her up, and then on top of the cardboard, I'm just going to pop it out of the cardboard, move it over. So this is kind of like how you can print it out at home and staple it yourself with just a regular stapler. So that's done. Now, if we go on to the other side, the staples are just sticking straight through. Can you see that? Probably not. Yeah. The staples they're sticking through, and then all you do is just bend them down. Maybe use something to bend them down. That actually didn't really work. So yeah, so back to what I was talking about. The way that we're going to do this zine is for me to do one of those illustrations. I'm aiming to do 2 of them a week, and if I do 2 of them a week, that means I get 8 of them a month. So 8 of these illustrations, right? And if I do 8 of them a month, then in 10 months I'll have done 80. I'll have done 80 pages. There's 100 pages, 78 for the cards, and then some supporting pages, a series of supporting pages. And so minimum, if I do 2 a week, I'll get there in like 10 months. And then what I figure is every month I'll release 8 of them as a zine. and the zine's going to have a front and back cover. This one's this what I want this to be actually is a zine that can be read backwards and forwards. So for instance, yeah, like some of the stuff could be upside down in this because all of the pages, like Two of Cups, Union, this is the front side, this is the like right way, the right way, the right way, the right way up. This is one way to look at it. And then you can look at it the other way, and it talks about division and death and change and idleness and inertness. You know, the Five of Cups, healing and rejoining the world, lost and spilling tears, and so fucked up, you know. So the whole booklet should be able to be read in either direction, which is sort of the whole, you know, this is the whole thing, is like I'm doing a thing about duality and kind of like making fun of the duality of like black and white thinking, and the whole thing is black and white. So anyways, I thought, you know, we could just, you know, depending on how long you want to watch this, we could just go through and edit the one that I'm already working on. So yeah, reads both ways. It's 4 pieces of paper, so it's a pretty tiny, and it'll have like a center spread, and a cover, and then 2 inner pages, 2 intro pages, and 2 outro pages, and then in between will be 8 of these. So if you're a patron, I'll be mailing that out to you, and they're figuring out a way to mail it out to probably everybody who's a patron. Maybe I'll make it $5 to get it mailed to you. $2 gets you a digital version. We'll see. So yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look. I was already editing this version. And yeah, so what I want to do is I want to put in here that you know, the first section is about the zine, which, oh my gosh, it's just sometimes when I write it comes out really nice, and then other times it's just like, whew, second grader. So there's this needs some updating. This has some edits to do. Then there's about the artist. This is just about me, and then I talk about this month's spread. So because there's going to be 8 cards every month, then each month is going to kind of have there's going to be a spread. And we can start to do interesting things with that spread. We can start to do interesting stuff with like which cards do we choose, which ones do we pull. You know, maybe I could pull one, you know, at the turnover of the month or something, you know, pull a series of cards, 8 cards that I'm going to do that month, and then, you know, that's good content. People like that kind of stuff. So anyways, I talk about this month's spread, and then we get into, we did the High Priestess, the Hermit, the pip card, so Ace through 5. So, you know, I have little illustrations for all of them, up into, so I'm just releasing little by little, but yeah. So like, here's all the pip cards, Ace through 10, and then the court cards. So these are like information about the page, the knight, the queen, the king in general, and then you get into the specifics of the specific suits. So anyways, I'm adding that in there. I don't know, I'm feeling like maybe this needs a little more context, but also like with zines, like you kind of just can have random ass nonsense. And then the center spread, I'm like really loving this. You know, this really, I think, speaks to the duality, the 2 words sort of enmeshed, 2 different font choices. Yeah, just really like it. It was fun to like work through as well. Then we did the 2 of Cups and the 5 of Cups. This is really interesting because, you know, last year was full on grief mode for me. I lost a really close friend who was, like a partner. We were gonna like buy. I was gonna buy into her house. I was gonna be living with her for many years. And the Two of Cups is like about union and like energy, the alchemy between two people. Um, and then the Five of Cups is about loss and like stuff being fucked up and it being traumatic and despair. Like this card, like really was present. And so it just was random that these two sort of that I did these two randomly, and that now they're showing. I think they like work really well together because it really explains like I had this union and I lost it. And then we go on to, I didn't mention, I think, six of wands. I really like this cover. It's just like, yeah, it's really nice. It's the big couple of big words. I really love how fear, uh, hope and fear. Yeah, fear just really so smudgy. So then, yeah, then we have the Four of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, Four of Coin. I call it coins in this after the Fountain Tarot. Um, and yeah, the four protecting your energy, the nine is all about like anxiety and fear and like nightmares, night terrors. Um, yeah, and then on the final page we get to the two. I'm going to be writing. I have two stories. I have two pieces of text basically. One is the Fool's Journey, which describes the story of the major arcana. So this starts with the Fool, and we go to the Magician and the High Priestess and the Empress, and then we have kind of like a to be continued. Um, dot dot dot. And then the other thing that I have is something on how magic works. So it's sort of like me explaining my magic system, and uh, yeah, and so I was. This came from I was out with living with a friend out in the mountains, and she was kind of like, I want to become a witch. How do I become a witch? And I was like, oh, let me just teach you what I know. And we'd like go on these long hikes, and I basically like give her like a lecture on like one thing. So I did like three lessons, and I'll probably develop some more. Um, and this is just the first one that's sort of like make some claims. Magic is all around you. Magic is self-evident. Some magic doesn't belong to you. Magic is everything it claims to be and more. Magic doesn't have to be hard. And what I really want to get across in this is like the practicality of magic and um, the way that I think because of capitalism, uh, we get things that like things have to become professionalized, and to make things professionalized they have to be not doable by regular people. You have to kind of like create the profession, the idea of the professional. Whereas like art is just something that anyone can do. And then there's like gatekeeping. Basically it's gatekeeping. Like when I see people who are like, oh, I want to get into magic, so I'm gonna like, I got to get all these crystals, and I got to get just the right this thing, and I have to get the really particular, candles, and this candle's the only candle that it's because it has this property. Um, and I guess it's just like I have a much more egalitarian view on it, where I yeah, I think that it shouldn't be that costly. Like you shouldn't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. You should be able to like use the crap around you, and like it's all imbued with magical powers. And if you like give it the power, it grants the power, you know, like it doesn't have to be hard. I think there are traditions that have like lots of rules and things like that, and like I don't understand those. I was never, you know, whatever tradition I come from is lost to dust. Maybe the Jewish side of my family, there's definitely still some stuff there, but um like I see that as separate. That's like those are avenues into the source, and the source is just like a cup that never empties, and you can always pour from the cup, and it doesn't take away from anybody else. And that's kind of how I see magic is like I want it to be egalitarian. I want you to be able to like perform a ritual with the junk that you have on hand. Um, you know, my whole you can see there's a reel on my personal Instagram that shows like stuff, and it's all just like random stuff. It's like a bullet I found on the ground in downtown Denver, a elephant that like a roommate gave me because they didn't want these stupid elephant figurine. Um, it's all this random stuff that like has meaning because I make it meaningful. Anyways, tangent. I want this section to be upside down so that you can open the book from either end. Then we need you know, the title here. And hopefully we'll have more patrons next time this print. So we'll have to figure out something else to do for this. But I put an ad for my tattoo and tarot, and then a QR code for the Patreon, and some information about the Patreon. And maybe I'll like flip the Patreon over to I'd really like to figure out a way to get to see if I can like interlace text, you know, like have like a right side up and an upside down that are like exchanging every line, and if that would be readable. Maybe like using two different fonts could work, or potentially doing like a gray page with black and white. We'll experiment with that. But yeah, I'm really excited, and that's the thing about doing these as monthly periodicals is I get to create something, and then I get to like iterate and experiment on it. Um, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. I think I'll release this. I don't know if I should do it on like the dark. It's like really romantic to do it on the dark moon, and that could be it. I could do February as the first one, dark moon on February, and then this goes out on February, and then I start the next one, you know. Um, but okay, that's uh that's all for this update. Love you.